Well, no matter what you do in life, there is kind of a balance between work and rest. And even play or recreation kind of needs to find its way in there as well. Some people will define play as something that's less structured than their actual work, but it's still related to their work. It's more open-ended. They're not tasks that have to be completed or finished right now. They're just kind of making connections or, hopping on social media and telling people about what you're up to or your latest project. That can sometimes be play as well. But I think most people, without giving a whole lot of thought to it, kind of live a life of 5 days on, 2 days off, 5 days on, 2 days off, simply because that is the schedule that's been reinforced since going to school. And work is the same thing a lot of the time. Some people do work different hours or different days, but more often than not, what you find is it's some variation on 5 days on, 2 days off. That might be 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off, and then 3 days on, 2 days off, or something like that. And basically it's just a pattern, right? But that pattern shouldn't necessarily control what you're doing. As an entrepreneur, you sort of have to embrace this reality that you're going to be doing something every single day. And I think most of us aren't really used to that. When I was in my late teens, that's when I started playing guitar. And I think that was maybe one of the first activities that I did do absolutely every single day for many, many, many years. I think somewhere down the line, I eventually kind of dropped down to about 5 days a week. And so I'd kind of give my muscles a chance to recover. And I didn't necessarily find that negatively affected my practice. So, since then, in more recent years or in the last year or so, my practice habit has been haphazard, but I would say that I still play a little bit of guitar every day, 5, 6, 7 days a week, but it's not something that I'm so determined about or have to work into my schedule to make it happen. It's just kind of a habit. If I'm waiting for something to load on my computer, I can pick up my guitar and play a few notes or play a few chords or, work on a solo or whatever for a few minutes. So I think that was kind of my first experience of doing something every single day, and the results did pay off. I may not be like a world-renowned guitarist. I have been called that before, oddly enough, but I may not be a household name, however you want to look at it. But I did, I've seen the results of that practice, and I've never played guitar better in my life, even if my practice habit is a little haphazard right now because of my change in focus. So I think where I want to go with this is, what do you do to recharge? Because some people I know, some of my mentors or some of the other business owners I know, they will take half a day off, and some of them will take a full day off. I don't think there's a rule that's set in stone, and I think basically they still keep their daily habits even on off days. You can do a lot of things from a place of rest, but what do you do to recharge? I even remember reading that in a book recently. It's important to figure out what refreshes you. What is, recreation is for recreating. You have to do something that is going to bring, energy and life back into your life, for a lack of a better way of saying it. And the other question I think I want to pose, and this is kind of an open-ended discussion, is, what do you, how do you balance being an entrepreneur with resting? Because obviously you can't go on forever. You can't pull 16-hour days the rest of your life unless you're absolutely doing it from a place of health and excitement and rest. I've personally found some limits, and one of the reasons I'm talking about this is because I'm personally going to be going through a bit of a season of rest this month, August. So, the thing is, I'm going to be keeping up some daily habits. I think writing is one of those things that I'm going to try to get in a little bit every day because I still have projects on the go. I'm somewhat fortunate in that my work situation has sort of coincided with the fact that I've kind of burnt myself out and I need a break. Yeah, and so it's really interesting how that has all played out and worked out timing wise, and I'm glad to be able to have that rest. So, here's the interesting part is like I already feel lighter than I was before, even a couple days ago, because there were a lot of outward manifestations of my frustration or just being tired. And obviously it starts at home, right? It starts in your internal world, and what starts in your internal world starts to manifest and show up in your outer world. So just annoyance or frustration with people, which is not, it's not my prerogative. I try to bring my best version, whether that's work or personal relationships. That stuff's important. And so what I began to realize progressively was that unless I did take a break, I think that that resentment would start to play out in ways that could really negatively affect anything that I do, work-wise and relationship-wise. And those are two areas that I obviously care a lot about. So I it's not something that I want to just take a chance on, roll the dice and find out what happens later. So, my daily habits, it's something that I can complete in about 2 to 3 hours a day. And again, I believe that's something that can be done from a place of rest, and it doesn't have to be go, go, go all the time. It doesn't have to be stressful. You can, because I have a book reading habit, for example, and I think, could just as easily sit on a couch or lay down and read for 15 minutes. It's not a big deal, right? What probably wears and tears on you over time more than anything is having this inflexible schedule, day in, day out, day in, day out. Gotta get this done, gotta get that done, got a couple of other things to get done. And that cycle compounded over time can definitely wear on you. And I don't think I'm even going to be able to bring the best to my writing and blogging and podcasting efforts without taking kind of a little bit of a break here. So again, it's coincided with some of the things that are happening at work, and so it's not going to require quite as much time or hours of me for this next month. So what do you do? What do you do as an entrepreneur to rest, to recharge? How do you balance work? How do you balance your work with getting some rest?